For 2 seasons, we watched Tabitha Matthews fight to escape the town. She climbed a ghost tower. She stood on the edge of a window. The boy in white looked her in the eye and said 3 words that nobody on this show has bothered to decode properly. This is the only way. Then he pushed her. She woke up in Camden, Maine. Free, supposedly. Then she came back. The town reeled her in like a fish on a line. I think I finally understand what really happened that night. Tabitha didn't escape the lighthouse. She got launched out of it like a missile, aimed at a specific person, for a specific reason, by something that has been planning her flight path since the late 1970s. And the person who started all of this was a Maine artist who's already dead. Stay with me. We're going to walk this all the way down. This is a single theory video about the lighthouse and from, where it leads, what it actually is, why the boy in white used it on Tabitha, and why, if I'm right, the entire show has been building to a reveal nobody is making yet. Here's the claim, stated up front. The lighthouse is not an exit. It is a transmitter. The town in From was created accidentally by Miranda Kavanaugh, Victor's mother when she was a working artist in Camden, Maine in the 1970s. Her bottle trees and her paintings tapped into something older that needed a foothold in our world. The town is what grew out of that foothold. The lighthouse is the broadcast tower of her creation. The boy in white is what the older thing planted inside her work to keep the construction going. When the boy in white pushed Tabitha out the window, she wasn't escaping. She was being deployed. He sent her to Camden on purpose to find Henry Kavanaugh, Miranda's husband, because Miranda is dead and the system Miranda built is running out of architect. I'm going to show you 4 pieces of evidence for this theory. Then I'll walk you through what it predicts for season 4, including why Sophia, why Julie's powers are blooming right now, and what the boy in white is actually doing every time he shows up to Tabitha with new directions. Let's go. Start with what we actually know about Miranda Kavanaugh. Miranda was an artist living in Camden, Maine. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, she had visions and dreams of a strange town with ghoulish children trapped in a tower. She felt called to free those children. She believed she had been chosen. She made art about her visions. Specifically, she built a bottle tree, a real physical sculpture, bare branches with glass bottles tied to the limbs. She liked it so much, she made a second one in her own backyard. That second bottle tree is the one Tabitha finds in Henry's yard 4 decades later. Now stop. Read that timeline again. Miranda did not see a bottle tree in the town and then come home and recreate it in her yard. She made the bottle tree first, out of her visions, as an art piece. The bottle tree existed in our world, in Maine, before Miranda or anyone in her family ever set foot in the place we now call Fromville. That is a critical detail, and almost every theory channel skates over it. Miranda's bottle tree in Maine predates the bottle tree in the town. The town's bottle tree is a copy of Miranda's. Or, and this is where it gets weird, the town's bottle tree exists because Miranda built one in Maine, and the act of building hers brought the other one into existence. That's the inversion this show keeps doing. We assume reality flows one way. Real world causes art. Art reflects reality. But Miranda's bottle tree and Miranda's paintings of children in towers came before the place those things supposedly depict. Her art didn't reflect the town. Her art created the conditions for the town to exist, or pulled the town into focus, or planted the seed. Miranda was not a witness. Miranda was an architect. She just didn't know it. Now to the boy in white. He pushes Tabitha out of the lighthouse tower. Before he does it, he says, "This is the only way." Then he apologizes. Then he shoves her through. Most viewers heard that line and assumed it meant, the only way to get you home is for me to push you. Soft, sad, sacrificial. The boy in white looks heartbroken. The line plays as compassion. I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he was saying, this is the only way for the system to keep running. Look at the situation from the boy in white's perspective. The town's original architect, Miranda, is dead. She died at the bottle tree, never finishing whatever it was she was supposed to do. The system she built is now operating on autopilot, but autopilot has a shelf life. Without a living architect inside the loop, the construction starts to decay, talismans start to fail, patterns break, things slip in that shouldn't, like the man in yellow walking around in a teenage girl's body. The boy in white is, in effect, the lighthouse keeper of Miranda's broken broadcast. He keeps the signal running, but he can't keep it running forever without input. He needs new architect material. And in Tabitha, he had it. Tabitha has past lives in this town. Tabitha had been here before. Tabitha had something none of the other residents had. The right kind of inherited resonance with whatever lives inside Miranda's design. So the boy in white did the only thing his job description allowed. He sent Tabitha through the transmitter, aimed her at the one outside world location that mattered. Camden, Maine. The original bottle tree. Henry Kavanaugh's house. This is the only way. Wasn't sympathy. It was protocol. The system survives if Tabitha goes to Camden, finds Henry, and brings the missing piece of Miranda back into the loop. So out the window she went. She wasn't pushed to her freedom. She was pushed to her assignment. Think about how impossibly precise the destination was. Tabitha didn't wake up in a random hospital in a random city. She woke up in Camden, Maine, at St. the closest hospital to Henry Kavanaugh's house, the house with Miranda's second bottle tree in the backyard. The lighthouse is, mechanically, a portal. Portals don't tend to be that polite. A portal that drops you anywhere in the world. You'd expect to come out at random coordinates. Maybe a city you've never heard of. Maybe a forest. Maybe Antarctica. But the lighthouse drops Tabitha within driving distance of Henry. It drops her in the exact part of Maine that contains the unfinished business of Miranda's life. That isn't a portal. That's a guided projectile. The lighthouse aimed her, like a transmitter sending a signal toward a specific receiver. Why Henry? Because Henry is the only Kavanaugh left outside the loop. Miranda is dead. Victor has been trapped for 40 years. Eloise, the daughter, vanished. Henry is the last living witness to what Miranda was when she was making the bottle trees. Henry watched her have those visions. Henry kept the second bottle tree in his yard. Henry has been quietly preserving Miranda's piece of the architecture without realizing it. The system needs Henry inside the loop, either physically dragged in, or more likely, used remotely as a memory source. Henry's memories of Miranda are pieces the system never got to write. Tabitha being pushed at him was the system trying to recover lost manuscript. That's why Henry shows up in the town in Season 3. That's why he's there at the bottle tree, with Tabitha at the end of Episode 3 of Season 4. The system has been pulling him closer to the active site. The lighthouse used Tabitha as the first pull. Now Henry is on the inside. The system wanted both Kavanaughs back together. It got them. Here's where the four pieces of the theory actually click together. The town has a lighthouse. The town has a bottle tree, technically a faraway tree, a unique kind that only exists in this town. The bottle tree transports people to the lighthouse. The lighthouse, when activated, transmits a person back to Camden, Maine, landing, conveniently, near Miranda's other bottle tree, the one she built in Henry's yard. 2 bottle trees, 1 lighthouse, 2 endpoints of a single line. That's not architecture. That's an antenna and a receiver. The bottle tree in Henry's yard in Camden is the outside end of the line. The bottle tree in the town is the inside end of the line. The lighthouse is the booster, the amplifier in the middle. Miranda built both ends, separated by, she thought, only a few miles of Maine countryside, and an artistic lifetime. What she didn't realize is that something older needed exactly this kind of setup. 2 trees, separated, joined by a transmission point. The moment she finished building the second one, the tower came online. The town manifested in the gap between the 2 antennas, and Miranda, the unwitting engineer, started having visions of the place she had just helped construct. The visions weren't a warning. They were the system phoning home, speaking to its architect, trying to get her to come finish the construction by physically entering the site. She did. She brought her family. She died at the bottle tree before she could complete whatever final step the system needed. And ever since, the lighthouse has been broadcasting on the line Miranda built, searching for someone who can finish her work. Enter Tabitha, pushed through the window, aimed at Henry, reeled back in, now standing in front of the bottle tree, with Henry beside her, in Episode 3 of Season 4. With the boy in white whispering about running out of time. The system isn't running out of time to escape. The system is running out of time to finish the construction. Miranda's design has a deadline. Now, the part that makes all of this matter for what we're watching right now. If the lighthouse is a transmitter and Miranda's design has a deadline, then everything happening in Season 4 starts to make a different kind of sense. The boy in white's shifting guidance. He told Tabitha the bottle tree was the way. Now he's telling her the bottle tree is the wrong question. He's not lying. The system's needs have changed. Phase 1, get Tabitha to Camden, get Henry into the loop, is complete. Phase 2, whatever Miranda was originally supposed to do at the lighthouse, needs Tabitha somewhere else. The boy in white is rerouting her to her new assignment. Running out of time is the deadline for that next assignment. Julie's storywalking. The system needs an architect. Miranda is dead. Tabitha is the lead candidate, but she's been corrupted by life outside the loop, and motherhood and grief. So the system is hedging. Julie's storywalking is activating because Julie is the backup architect. If Tabitha fails, Julie inherits the role. The storywalking ability is, in effect, the system's way of training its next operator. Reading old chapters of the manuscript is exactly the kind of orientation a new architect would need. The man in yellow is Sophia. This is the wild card. The man in yellow is what happens when the system breaks. He's a glitch that grew teeth. He doesn't want a new architect. He wants the construction to fail. He wants the residents to destroy each other before any of them can pick up where Miranda left off. That's why he chose Sarah as his first move. Sarah is the most morally cracked candidate, the easiest to weaponize. Once the residents are dead or scattered, there's no architect. The lighthouse falls silent, and the system collapses with the man in yellow still in it. He's playing for ruin, not survival. Boyd at Abby's grave. The thing that grabbed him at the end of episode 3 wasn't an attack. It was the system trying to hand him a piece of information about the deadline. Boyd is the human structural engineer of the town's daily life. He keeps the residents alive, fed, organized. The system needs him to know what's coming, so it grabbed him. Watch what he does with whatever he learned. Sarah hearing voices in episode 4. The voices are louder because the system is panicking. With the deadline approaching, all the noise is turning up. Sarah's particular vulnerability is being amplified because she lives in close proximity to Sophia. The man in yellow doesn't have to broadcast loud anymore. He's right there. Each of these storylines, separately, looks like a horror twist. Together, they're the same story. The town's original architect is dead. Her construction is decaying. The system is racing to install a new architect, Tabitha or Julie, before the man in yellow shuts the whole thing down. If this theory is right, here's what the rest of season 4 has to do. 1. Tabitha will be brought back to the lighthouse, not the bottle tree. The lighthouse itself. The boy in white will lead her there. This time, she won't go through the window. She'll do whatever Miranda was supposed to do but didn't. That act will redefine the system. Maybe save it, maybe break it. 2. Henry will play a much bigger role than fans expect. He's not just a grieving husband. He's the keeper of the outside world bottle tree, which means he is the only living human who can authorize what Miranda built. Tabitha will need him present, in the town, at the moment the next phase begins. 3. Julie's storywalking will reveal Miranda directly. At some point, Julie will walk back into a chapter where Miranda was alive, and we will finally see, on screen, the artist building the bottle tree. The reveal will land like a brick. 4. The man in yellow's plan to make Sarah kill someone will fail in a very specific way. It will fail because Tabitha or Julie successfully picks up the architect role just before the kill, which rewrites the rules of the system mid-act. The man in yellow's hijack only works if the system has no operator. Install 1, and the bullet doesn't fire. 5. The series finale, whenever it comes, will involve someone, likely Tabitha, physically standing inside the lighthouse and choosing what the broadcast says next. Whatever she transmits will be the new instruction set for the town. She becomes Miranda's successor, or she shuts the broadcast down and the town fades. Either ending is on the table. Both make use of the antenna we've been staring at since season 2. For 3 seasons, we treated the lighthouse as an exit, a door, a way out. We watched Tabitha walk through it and decided it must be the answer. I think we read it backwards. The lighthouse isn't a way out, it's a way in. It's been calling architects from Camden, Maine, since before any of these characters were born. Miranda answered first. She built the antenna. She built the receiver. She died before she could finish the broadcast. The system has been calling for her successor ever since. Tabitha didn't escape that night. She got assigned, now she's back. The deadline is real. The boy in white's clock is ticking. And somewhere in Henry's backyard, an old bottle tree is still humming on the line. If this theory holds, the final shot of From is going to be a bottle tree in Maine going dark. Tell me in the comments, does this hold up against the way you've been watching the show? Or is there a piece I missed that breaks it apart? Drop your reaction below, and I'll read every single one. If you're new to the channel, this is what we do. One careful theory at a time. No filler. No recycled hot takes. Subscribe so you catch the next breakdown the second the next episode drops. Until then, watch the bottle trees. They're not decoration.